Hello, my name is Michael Schoaf and I'm superintendent for the Rocky River City School District.
And I'm Liz Anderson, Assistant Superintendent for the school district. And welcome to Good News About Our Schools.
Good News About Our Schools is an opportunity for us to share information with you about the Rocky River City Schools, the programs, the students, the staff, and our initiatives. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited today to be joined by Kay Graves and Kayla Johnson from the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. Kay and Kayla, welcome. We're going to start today to learn about our initiatives in the Rocky River City Schools and our continued relationship with the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. So Kay and Kayla, if you would please share with us, what are your backgrounds, experiences, and also how are you working with the Rocky River City School District students and staff?
Thank you so much, Dr. Schoaf and Liz, for having us. We're very excited to be talking about this initiative. So a little bit about my background. I've been working in education now for 9 years, currently working on a doctorate in education, social justice, and educational leadership. Prior to working with the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio, I worked in higher education as a faculty and academic advisor and worked on a number of initiatives implementing equity, diversity, and inclusion strategies in those environments. Currently, I am the director of our Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion programs at the Diversity Center, coordinating our school and youth department, and head of Educator PD. And I am the point person for Rocky River City School District for the DEIJ Leader Project.
And my name is Kayla. And for the last 6 years, I've been providing justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion support and resources for people of all ages across Northeast Ohio. And my time at the Diversity Center has primarily focused on professional development for educators, administrators, and senior leadership or board members at schools and universities across Ohio. And I am currently exploring my graduate school options for a Master of Public Health with a focus on leadership practice and health equity.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you very much. Liz?
So Kayla and Kay, why don't you tell us, our district since about 2013, we've had a great rapport with DCNEO, the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. And before we talk about perhaps how it's changed this year, why don't we just explore what we've done to this point before this year? What was our normal rapport with DCNEO like? So let's talk about staff programming and student programming.
Yes, absolutely. So the Diversity Center has been honored to have this long-standing partnership with the Rocky River School District. And we've been providing that professional development for staff and faculty across all of the different schools in the district, as well as providing some leadership development opportunities for student groups. And that's in middle school and high school. And so over the last few years, we have provided our U-Lead, youth leadership programming for every ninth grader in the district.
Mm-hmm. And so Kay is, can you go into what is U-Lead?
Absolutely. So we offer for the Diversity Center our U-Lead Junior, which is for K to 2 and then 3 to 5. And then we have our U-Lead Standard Series, which is a 6 to 12. And these are scaffolded programs that are really designed to address topics of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice in age-appropriate ways. And so, for example, our U-Lead series typically would feature some kind of a book-related program, in addition to maybe an arts-related activity. So one of the projects that we'll talk about, but I'll just share about it now, is we're working more intentionally with our K to 5 in River. That's one of the changes. And we've recently been able to provide some curriculum to Goldwood that includes a read aloud of a book and some arts crafts that are related to identity and diversity and how that shows up in the classroom. And that's been really successful. We've got a number of other curricular programs that we're developing along that line for Goldwood. I think we have 3 more that we'll be doing this year. And so it's just very exciting to be able to provide that content. In terms of ULead, those 2 are activity-based. So students might watch a video or read something or just begin with an activity and then have a discussion around what it is that they've experienced. And so it's very engaging in terms of what we've seen coming out of those programs across all of the clients that we work with. Students often want to stay engaged with our organization, and so they follow us on social media, they volunteer for our events, and many have indicated that at pivotal points in their life, it was actually very life-changing for them as well.
I love that. So up until this year, from 2013 through the 1920 school year, our partnership with the DCNEO was student-focused primarily at the secondary level. Working with all of our freshmen, as Kayla had mentioned, through a series of topics: Diversity 101, problem solving and teamwork, anti-bullying, socioeconomic diversity, leadership, gender and religion. And so this year, as we heard Dr. Shoaff Kay just mention, one of the new things that has come about as a result of our strengthened partnership with DCNEO is student programming below middle school. And those activities that Kay just explained that they wrote and those lessons that DCNEO wrote and then our teachers are working on it at our elementary level they're just so awesome. And that is like a perfect example of something that's come about because of this partnership. Something new that hadn't been done before. So we really love that. So now here we are in 2021, and we've strengthened our connection, our contract with you, and we've brought in the DEI leader, the whole notion of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice leader. And so tell us, one of the things you've done as that now that's staff focused and not so much student focused.
Sure thing. Well, Kayla, I'll let Kayla speak to perhaps the newsletter and other pieces that we have. But we, as a part of the kind of nice thing about the DEIJ leader model, and I think probably questions that folks might ask is, how is this really different from what we would do typically, right? The DEIJ leader model provides 40 hours a week of support. So that's a full-time staff person worth of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice support in the district. And it's not even, just one person. So it's not just myself or not just Kayla, but it's, us plus the entire staff of the Diversity Center. So you're getting a whole wealth and breadth of experiences, knowledge bases, competencies with different age groups, and the list goes on and on. So it's a really great opportunity rather than only having maybe one person who works with, everyone, but doesn't quite have all of those experiences that they're bringing to the table. And so that's the nice piece is we can be here, we can get to know the district, we can get to know the staff, we can get to know the students and parents in the community and really tailor our approach to what is needed within the district. And so one of the things we've been able to do that is new is provide some consultation and support for human resources, augmenting inclusive practices, thinking about how can we attract a stronger, diverse employee and retain those employees as well. And we've also been able to provide consultation support to educators as they're perhaps developing curriculum for their classrooms, or when specific questions or situations arise, we're able to be there right away and provide support. Kayla, would you want to speak to some of the other things you've been working on?
Yeah, absolutely. Another way that we've enhanced with this partnership is being able to, I'm sorry, my dogs are in the background. They say hello to all of you, Rocky River Pirates. And so we've been able to connect with each and every school throughout the district to work closely and learn about all of the opportunities that might exist within the schools for expanding our DEIJ initiatives. And that also means that we have had a dramatic increase in the resources that we can provide. And so we have a newsletter, for example, called Collectively Conscious that is released every month that focuses on different topics. Our February newsletter is focusing on Black History Month and the notion of anti-racism. And so every month we'll come out with resources and things that educators and staff members can use in their everyday.
That's so awesome. And I'm so appreciative of that. Every month, rather, when I read it, I learn something. So the resources that you collect in that tiny little newsletter, monthly newsletter, are priceless and appreciated. So thank you. Nick?
Kay and Kayla, could you share with us more about the DEI statement, the process that we're going through as a district? How are we involving students and staff, parents and community members? And what's the goal in the end, and how will we implement go forward with our DEI statement?
Absolutely. So a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement is really one way that an organization can demonstrate in the written word their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how they will foster that as a part of their practices in their organization. So the intention of Rocky River City School District crafting that kind of a statement is to, again, demonstrate that this is something that is really important to the district, both internally and also externally to your different stakeholders, so the families and community members and students who are a part of the district. It may also include, and this is just kind of dependent on how the district creates their statement, it may include specific goals and outcomes that are desired as a part of that. So they could include different practices or different values that the district wants to uplift and highlight as a part of that experience. In terms of how the district has worked so far to create that, we're quite a ways along in the process. And so I'm just thrilled with everything that we've been able to accomplish in spite of COVID and the pandemic kind of disrupting a lot of the kind of sense of normalcy, right, that we had last year. So the way that we engaged everyone is we provided a series of surveys to all of the employees within the district and asked them to provide their ideas around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it could have been a fully formed statement. It could have been a series of words that they felt were really important, a series of values that they really wanted to highlight. And that was then shared with the grade and departmental level chairs at all of the schools, who then met with those teams and further refined it at that level. And then at each school, in addition to us meeting with the leadership there, every school have what is called a DEIJ visioning committee. And these are a group of committed, passionate volunteers within the district who really want to see the mission of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice be advanced within the district. And so they volunteer their time to meet fairly regularly, almost monthly, to talk about these topics and also to talk about the statement. And so they met, refined their statement at the building level, and now we are at a stage where we will be meeting with the admin team at the board office to be refining that once again. The hope is that we will be able to, and I believe the plan is to share out a similar kind of survey to our families within the district, have them provide some of the same content in terms of words or statements they feel would be really important. And those two will be considered as the statement is being refined once again.
It's awesome. It's been a great process, starting from, every employee having the opportunity to share their own individual thoughts. And then from there, from the employee level to then a department or grade, and then to a building or department, all the way up it's been a great process, and I'm so appreciative that you guys have brought that to us and organized it thusly.
So much involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with so many people across the district and our community. I really appreciate it and the work that you're doing. It's important as we go forward. What are some, if we can, this is an initiative we're working on right now, but what are some other initiatives that we're working on with you and the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio for the Rocky River City School District?
Yeah, we will also be offering 1 hour professional development programs for staff across the entire district throughout the rest of this school year. And so some of those topics will include a bias and micro messages refresher and other sessions that refresh some of the previous professional development sessions that we've had, as well as some new topics like intro to coded language and other things.
Yeah, and Dr. Schoaf, I guess just to add on to that, for the viewers out there so they know, in the district, this year, our staff development was focused on relationships. And then we've had in the past socioeconomics and learning, micro messages and bias. We've had Diversity 101 and all led wonderfully. And so like you said, some of those in the upcoming 1 hour PDs that are going to be happening every month for staff. Some of them are refreshers, and then I'm so excited to the coded language one. That's going to be great. I can't wait to sit in on that one. But I think that in addition to the staff PDs that are another, prong of DCNEO being in our district full time, we continue on with the normal things that we've always done. Kay, do you want to share any of that as far as what we do at the middle school with 7th graders and an 8th grade survey and 9th graders?
Absolutely. So yes, this year we are continuing to do some of our regularly scheduled programming, although there will be a couple of adaptions due to scheduling changes as a result of COVID and just, testing and all of those typical things as well. So most recently, Rocky River Middle School, we always do hashtag Rethink Labels with the 7th grade. And Rethink Labels is a video-based program. So there's a short video that actually went viral several years ago when it was first filmed and is free to view on YouTube if you want to go check that out. It's a very profound, very emotional video. It really gets, I think, people to think about labels and identity and bullying and the impact that has on people. And so there's a program that we have that's structured around that. The 7th grade gets that every year. And that one has already happened. We also have a leadership session planned for the 7th grade, some of their student groups. So that'll be happening here in March. In terms of a high school program, we will be doing 3 U-Leads this latter part of the school year with the intention of migrating 3 of them to the next school year for the 10th grade. So they'll still get all of the same wonderful programming that all of the other classes have got. We just have to adapt it a little bit. And that will be Diversity 101, Socioeconomic Status, and then a conflict resolution, with the intention on perhaps reevaluating what the other 3 programs will be in the fall based on what the needs are. And then we're also going to be doing a 3-hour leadership training with all of those, with the student groups at the high school as well. So we've got a lot of great things coming down there. And of course, Liz, as you mentioned, we have the 8th grade climate survey that we do every year, and that really informs what U-Leads we will be scheduling for the 9th grade.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Kate, this whole notion of DEIJ, or diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I was quickly corrected, and I'm glad I was, that to say just diversity isn't really good or okay or accepted. It's not just diversity anymore. We shouldn't just say diversity, because along with it comes equity, inclusion, justice. Can you and Kayla, can you guys share the notion or the reason behind just as a little bit, since we are an education institution, in just a couple minutes, educate our viewers on what's the difference? Why shouldn't I just say diversity? Why can't I just say diversity?
Sure thing, Liz. I'll start, and then Kayla, I'm going to turn it over to you. You know, and it's interesting, Liz, because I think organically what we know to be true is that diversity is an organic process. It just kind of happens by the virtue of people being different, right? And certainly there can be different ways that people are different by the different identities that they hold, right? But that doesn't mean that everybody feels included in that space. So that's the inclusion piece. You can have all the diversity in the world and still not have people who feel like they belong in that space. You can also have, diversity and have people who are not able to participate in the structure that they're existing in. So in this case, when we think about education, does everyone have the ability to participate in education with whatever means they might have? That would be equity. And so if you have all of these different kinds of people who maybe feel like they belong, but are not able to reach success or be able to engage in that environment in a way that is going to allow them to be able to learn and be able to do everything that they need to do in order to, be a part of Rocky River City School District, then you might not have equity. So that's just a couple of the ways that I like to think about it. Kayla, would you add on or expand upon that?
Yes, in keeping with all of that, recognizing how diversity is a natural part of life, that by the practice of inclusion, we can honor and respect that difference and find ways to actively make it part of our everyday understanding and practice. And I would just add that justice, especially in a school setting, education setting, as you mentioned, it really calls on us to think about what we can learn from our history and how we can improve on that. And so how are we teaching our students, or even us as adults, as colleagues, how are we learning and actively working to make the world that we live in a better place? And how are we all doing that together? And so Rocky River's commitment to having diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice also includes making sure that we are committed to that, and really all of the ways that we're connected with our school programming and educator programming is part of working together towards that mission.
That's awesome.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Getting ready to close our show today. And Kay and Kayla, you've been working hard in our district in K to 12, really working with all the students and staff. So what are some of the things that we can look forward to this spring?
Well, I think one of the things that I am very excited about outside of the student programming that we mentioned, the PD that were mentioned, I am just so thrilled to, hopefully have this statement process finalized this year. And one of the things that I didn't mention earlier, but I'll mention now, is one of the beautiful things about a DEI statement, even beyond the commitment, is it helps to guide the organization moving forward. Everything that you do related to this subject is going to trace its way back to this statement and to this commitment. And so having that in place really solidifies everything that we do moving forward. And so I'm just so thrilled to be engaging in that, and also to be engaging the community in that process. That's going to be very exciting, and I'm thrilled for that. Caleb, anything you would add?
No, outside of just continuing to support Rocky River, especially as we transition to in-person and as you are working with all of the things around that, we are happy to be supporting you and providing that everyday assistance. So
Well,
that's what you can look forward to.
Thanks.
I know that you guys help me know what I don't know. And because we all don't know everything, that's exactly why we need you. And I know that I'm grateful. Mick and I are grateful that you walk with us because this is not my forte, but I'm getting better at it. And I love that you guys are helping us all along the way. We can't ask for better leadership from DCNEO than the two of you, and all of those people behind you that are there, like you said, all those resources who each have their own slice of that DEIJ pie that they're experts in. You as a resource are priceless, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. And Kay and Kayla, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you being on Good News about the Rocky River City Schools. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us and watching today.